Being a little bit off. A lot of people don't like to talk about that. Your senses are a little bit off. Your taste is a little bit off. Um, this type of stuff doesn't happen unintentionally. Some of it is very much intentional. We were taught in black communities that diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, same thing, which is high blood pressure. Um, Kidney disease, liver disease, heart disease, all of these was issues brought on by you. I'm here to tell you today they're not all brought on by you. Okay, when you season your food, if you're a cook, the first thing you're going to do is you always know you can add to, but you can't take away from. So you season to the flavor in which you like. Well, what if your senses was a little bit thrown off? And if your senses are a little bit thrown off, you might actually be cooking a salt pot without even knowing it. The pot is full of salts, full of seasoning, and you not even know it. And it may be attributing to you having hypertension. You season your food properly, but at the same time, you put a lot of seasoning because you want your food with flavor. And if you don't put a lot of seasoning, your food don't have flavor. And it's a problem for you because you like taste. Your body likes to taste food. You like your food to taste a certain way. And when it don't, you're gonna add to. Sometimes, grits already have salt in it, but at the same time, when you taste it, it tastes a little bit bland. So you add that little extra salt in there, and it's not really your fault that you're thrown off sense wise, because like I said, other people are trying to take advantage, take control through other forms of manipulation. This goes beyond psychology. This goes into something else, totally different. I really haven't found the proper terminology for it in my research, so it's hard for me to actually explain it into full detail. But I will say that your being thrown off is not your fault, but you have to be careful. Monitoring your salt intake, monitoring how much you take in. We season meat, and when we season meat, we pour that seasoning on there. We pour that complete seasoning, garlic powder, black pepper. We pour it on our food, and a lot of times our food is over seasoned and not being fully aware because we're thrown off. Our senses are thrown off. It tastes good. We don't even know that we're eating salted chicken. The chicken tastes like a salt cube because our senses are being thrown off because other people being maniacal and manipulative, trying to stop you from having whatever they feel like you have that they don't. Um, it may not even be other people. It may be just our senses are just thrown off, and we have to sit up there and we have to monitor ourselves. I will give you the perfect example. Shake and Bake was taken off the market because they say it had a high sodium intake and basically then placed back on the market. I will give you the perfect example. When I season my food personally, my blood pressure would be higher. When I use Shake and Bake, my blood pressure dropped extremely low. So I know for a fact if they're screaming that Shake and Bake had a high sodium intake, that whatever I was doing on my own was a scream more higher than the sodium that was in Shake and Bake, which I never had a problem with Shake and Bake. I always thought Shake and Bake had a great product. I love their products. I use their products and I think they are awesome. But I'm just saying that because sometimes we are so thrown off that we don't know our own intake and we're destroying our own bodies. It's time we start measuring and start actually measuring how much salt is enough. Saying, okay, well, look, if it's not seasoned to a certain degree where I like it, I'm just going to eat it anyway. And cutting back on the salt, the seasoning, and a lot of stuff that we're putting in our body to lower the hypertension. Because remind you, we're still dealing with being a little bit thrown off. Sugar intake. Okay. Um, because we're thrown off, a lot of times we add extra sugar because it doesn't taste sweet enough. It just tastes bland. Like it tastes like it doesn't have any food to it. It's like someone switching out your food, and you're eating one thing, but what you're actually eating is another. It's that type of thing, and it's sometimes a reality that we go through in our communities, and we have to be mindful of that. So certain things I just have to stop at a certain degree and say I won't go past this. Like if I'm baking a cake, I have to stop at a certain amount of sugar, a cup and a half, or try to minimize how much sugar that I take in. Or if I notice certain things add extra sugar to something, I have to lower the amount of sugar I add to it, because I will um put more sugar in it than it need, overdo it, and cause myself to have diabetes. Because to me it tastes like it doesn't have sugar, but it actually does. So these are ways that you kind of deal with things when you're a little bit out of it. That's two ways. Okay, the other ways, monitoring like the taste and the texture. If you're eating, try to monitor the taste and the texture of what you're eating. So if you feel like you're eating and you don't taste nothing, it's good to stop eating, because a lot of stuff is going on. Just be aware of yourself, your body, your mind, and stuff like that. That's a lot of things that's leading us to kidney and liver disease, not being aware of what we're really eating. We know what we prepared, we know what we did, but other things are taking place to prevent what you did. Other people are being vindictive and causing more harm to your body than you know, and thinking. We know that this is a thinking problem, because our thinking says, okay, well, look, I know what I prepared, but what we prepared has been switched with something different than what we originally prepared. Um, and no one cares about it. So you have to be mindful of those situations. You know what I'm saying? If something doesn't taste right, something, and sometimes you won't even be aware of the taste. You won't notice it. You won't notice it. Sometimes you will notice it and probably be dumbfounded or in a state where you can't fix it, because mentally you're still going, but you're not going. So just being out of it, you have to keep in mind there's a lot of things that these people do against us, a lot of things that people are acting against our families, and they're not for our family, they're not for our houses, they're not for our people, they're not for us, period. Know that they're not for us, and just take care of yourself, take care of your body to the best of your ability, even when you're out of it. Drinking water constantly is a good idea, but when you start seeing, okay, I have drunk enough for today. If you drink, let me give you a perfect example. This is a 32-ounce bottle of grapefruit juice. I drank a 32-ounce bottle of grapefruit juice. Today, on top of that 32 ounce of grapefruit juice, I have drunk two um that's well over 8 ounces. I would say 12 ounces of water. Um, on top of that, what else did I have today? I think that was it. I drank this 32 ounce of Ruby Red grapefruit juice, and I drank 12 ounces of water. Two 12-ounce cups of water. That is more than enough fluids to hydrate my body for a day. That is more than enough. I should even be able to manage at least 3 days without drinking anything, my body sustain itself. But when you find yourself falling into dehydration, I'm just gonna say that you're a little bit out of it. Um, just try to prepare yourself the best you can. These are my, like, this is my advice to, like, telling people, just like be mindful of certain intakes that you're taking, things that you're drinking, the things that you're eating, and stuff like that. Sometimes we can overdo it. Too much fluids is another thing. You're drinking a whole gallon of water every day. Then on top of the gallon of water, you're drinking some other stuff, and a lot of times you're overhydrating, and it's just as damaging as underhydrating. So just be careful, be mindful, even when you're out of it. Just a little bit of advice.